The rejection email from Victoria's Secret arrived on a gray November morning. Nadia stared at the message silently from her luxury apartment in New York City, her stomach twisting with disappointment. Thank you for attending the casting. That was all it took to crush weeks of hope. Hundreds of women had attended the audition, each one breathtaking in her own way. Nadia had secretly imagined herself walking beneath flashing lights with giant wings attached to her back, becoming one of the most recognized models in the world. Instead, she sat alone in sweatpants, eating cold takeout while rain tapped against the windows. But rejection in the modeling world rarely lasted long. Within weeks, two major opportunities changed everything. The first came from a luxury jewelry company searching for fresh faces for a diamond campaign. The creative director claimed Nadia's deep ebony complexion made the diamonds shine like stars against midnight. Huge billboards featuring her elegant face soon appeared across Manhattan. Glittering necklaces wrapped around her neck while photographers praised her regal beauty. Then, a fast-growing New York fashion label contacted her directly through social media after seeing clips from Fashion Week. They offered her another lucrative contract as one of their featured runway models and brand ambassadors. Suddenly, money poured into her life faster than she could comprehend. Designer bags, five-star hotels, private parties, professional makeup teams, photographers shouting her name backstage. At only 21 years old, Nadia was earning more in a month than her father once earned in a year back in Sudan. And yet, her success brought almost no joy to her family. The breaking point came when her parents learned she had officially placed her engineering studies on hold. Her father called her immediately from Sudan. "You paused your education?" he asked quietly. Nadia tried to explain the opportunities, the contracts, the networking, the possibility of building an even bigger future. But he interrupted her. "Do you know how many girls in our village would pray for the scholarship you received? Girls who will never get the chance you had?" His disappointment hurt more than shouting would have. Then her mother took the phone. "You crossed oceans to become educated," she snapped angrily, "not to expose your body to strangers all over the world. Where is the Nadia that I raised here in Sudan? Have you totally lost your mind? Have you forgotten all your morals? Do you think Allah is pleased with your newfound lifestyle?" The argument ended in tears. Weeks later, Nadia returned home from a fashion shoot to discover two familiar figures standing in the lobby of her apartment building. They were her parents. For a moment, she thought she was hallucinating. Why were they here? She thought, as she tried to decide if she was seeing correctly. She was definitely in shock and very surprised. She stood frozen for a while, just staring at them. Her mother wore a long traditional dress and headscarf, looking painfully out of place among the polished marble floors and fashionable residence. Her father looked exhausted from travel. Because of his respected business connections in Sudan, he had managed to secure temporary visas for them both. "Nadia," her mother whispered emotionally before embracing her tightly. She then slowly hugged her father tightly. In this moment, she realized how badly she had missed her parents. That night was tense from the beginning. Her parents stared silently at framed modeling photos hanging throughout the apartment. Images of Nadia in fitted dresses, sleeveless gowns, and glamorous makeup filled the walls, like strangers mocking them. Her mother finally broke down. "You were not raised like this," she said sharply. "We taught you dignity. We taught you modesty." Nadia defended herself. "I'm successful now. I can support all of you if I want." "We never asked you to sell yourself for money," her mother fired back. The words struck like a slap. Her father remained calmer, but his sadness felt heavier. "You wanted to build airplanes," he reminded her quietly. "That dream inspired your brothers and sisters. What happened to that girl?" Nadia had no answer. The next few days became an emotional battle. Her parents begged her either to return to school or come back home with them to Sudan before her life drifted further away from everything they believed in. But something else had entered Nadia's life. During New York Fashion Week, she had worn the show-stopping finale gown for a famous designer. Cameras exploded with flashes as she walked the runway. Among the elite guests sat a wealthy white businessman named Charles Whitmore, a real estate mogul nearly 15 years older than her. From the moment he saw her, he became obsessed. Due to his connections in the city, he was allowed to go backstage where the models were. He watched her admiringly as she completed a few brief interviews with fashion magazines and the press, and when he finally got the chance to approach her, he did so with grace and kindness. He complimented her beauty and how she looked in the showstopper gown. He also let her know how much he loved her Sudanese accent. She was very sweet and welcoming and accepted his compliments. They exchanged contact information, and from that day forward, flowers began arriving weekly, exclusive dinner invitations followed, luxury gifts appeared at her apartment. Charles was handsome, polished, and unimaginably rich. He spoke to Nadia as though she were a rare treasure. He promised her travel, security, and a glamorous future beyond anything she had imagined growing up in Sudan. Rumors spread quickly among her friends and colleagues that he was planning an elaborate public proposal during an upcoming charity gala. The thought consumed her mind. The daughter of a middle-class Sudanese family becoming the wife of a white millionaire in America felt unreal, almost like a movie. Her mother hated everything about it. "This man does not know you," she warned. "He knows the image the world sees." But Nadia barely listened anymore. Her parents spent 2 weeks with her. She allowed them to sleep in her bedroom while she slept on her convertible bed sofa in the living room. On the morning of her parents' departure, silence filled the taxi ride to the airport. Her mother quietly wiped tears with a tissue while her father stared out the window at the endless New York traffic. At the terminal entrance, her father held Nadia's hand tightly. "You're still our daughter," he said softly, "no matter what choices you make." Her mother looked heartbroken. "Please come home before you forget yourself completely." For a brief second, Nadia nearly changed her mind. She imagined returning to Sudan, finishing her engineering degree, rebuilding trust with her family, and leaving behind the exhausting world of fashion behind. But then she thought about the life waiting for her in New York, the contracts, the fame, the millionaire who wanted to marry her, the freedom she had tasted and no longer wanted to lose. Tears filled her eyes as she hugged her parents goodbye. Then she watched them disappear into the crowded airport without her. For the first time since arriving in America, Nadia understood that every dream demanded a sacrifice, and she had chosen hers. If you like this content, go ahead and follow for the final installment of part 3. Thank you for listening.